Good day, global citizens. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Fajembola's Opinion. On today's episode, we are going to take you through one of the issues currently disturbing Nigeria's health sector, and I'm glad to bring on board a good colleague of mine, Mr. Wada Hassan Yusuf. Mr. Hassan, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It's nice to see you once again.
It's nice to be on this platform discussing with you on Lassa 16, and I believe this is something that many people don't know. And also, Nigeria bears the highest burden of Lassa fever in sub-Saharan Africa. So,
Yeah.
diving into the discussion, Mr. Wada, what are three things? Because I know there are many things, and that's what we encourage people to also watch this video and also read the publication. What are three things you want us to know about Lassa fever?
Okay. Thank you so much, Azizat, for having me once again. And just like you said, the last tweet said this all. Many people would like to know what's really happening. Many people doesn't even know on diseases that is endemic in actually our country. And there are quite many of them. When you look at the situation report from NCDC, for example, every day you see new diseases that have actually been part of our health security burden. But just like you said, three things. I might say 10 things, but I will make sure I will be within those three things. The first key thing is actually Lassa fever is a persistent seasonal zoonotic threat in West Africa and majorly have regular. Also, moving out of Nigeria. This disease is not endemic only to Nigeria, but it's endemic to the whole West African countries. Benin actually reported a case this year. Ghana reported a case. Guinea reported a case. Liberia reported a case. Mali reported a case. And Sierra Leone reported a case. So when you look around, it's not a Nigerian problem, but it's actually a whole regional problem that we still have. So I don't think there's any country that haven't reported a case, maybe from West Africa. But maybe when you look at a deep dive, you could actually see maybe who take the highest burden, which I felt Nigeria have. The care workers, they have a knowledge gap, and there's actually an overestimation of their competencies because those gaps directly affect those transmission and also case management. So when you go to a hospital, someone tells you, "Oh, I know how to manage Lassa fever," but what is the first line treatment? He doesn't know. So we actually highlight those things and also tells how do we improve those training and also those IPC and also how do we.
So that for shedding more light on what type of rodents causes Lassa fever. Now, quoting from the publication where you and other authors said heterogeneous neglected zoonotic disease of the tropics. People termed Lassa fever as that. What does this mean?
I think in that publication and in many publications we do, it's actually how do we simplify language. And I could remember I actually went for a fellowship in South Africa, in Canada, and also in US. How do we simplify languages? Because most times you actually went to publications, you write articles, you write so many language that even your community doesn't understand. But when writing these publications, that heterogeneous, we were thinking, oh, do we use a normal language? But peer reviewers are also sometimes stubborn. They will tell you, no, this is not a scientific language. So I think we had a back and forth and also maintain that heterogeneity or heterogeneous zoonotic disease of tropics. So what does that mean is that it's normal English word. Heterogeneous means not the same. So it means Lassa fever doesn't behave the same everywhere in the world. So what you could see in Katsina might actually be different from what you see in maybe Kwara, because it actually might not be the same rodents. Maybe even when you see, even in the same family, in the same scientific class, they might be units of different. So one of the main issues we think was that it has actually become a neglected disease because the transmission intensity, the clinical severity, the reservoir dynamics, and the seasonality varies across region and even in states. And I actually was looking at data, like I told you, in September. The situation report of Lassa fever is that how it behaved in Kogi state was entirely different in how it behaved in Kano. So neglected also signals that historically, when people, when Lassa fever started, for example, in Borno state, it received less research, it received less funding, and it received less political attention than other threats. And you actually alluded that